for the Robbie Crystal Petry Consultants.
Hello, my name is Crystal Petry, and you are watching another episode of my podcast, 60 Minutes With. On today's podcast, I have the absolute honor and pleasure of sitting down and speaking with Beaumont, Texas Fire Rescue Fire Chief Earl White.
That is true. That is a mouthful.
It is a mouthful, but I'm glad I got it.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm glad I got it. So, you are the fire chief.
Yes.
So, obviously, my first question, I really do not know this. What exactly do you do as fire chief?
Well, as the fire chief, I'm responsible for any and all operations of the Beaumont Fire Rescue. That includes fire operations, EMS operations, special team operations, and what I mean by that, if there's a dive incident or hazmat spill, we're what we call an all-hazard department. We're various degrees of talents and certifications and everything, so we're a full-service department. And I'm essentially totally in charge of making sure the day-to-day operations of the department, that includes the personnel and the budget.
Okay. How many people, and I use this word loosely,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
how many people are you over, or are you in charge?
Currently, right now, right at 300
300 people?
personnel. That includes both sworn personnel and civilians.
Okay.
Now, we have a combination of sworn firefighters and EMT and paramedics working together. And then, of course, we have to have support personnel. Because believe it or not, firefighter, EMT, and personnel want to be paid. They do.
What?
Yeah, they want to be paid. So we have to make sure that their time's recorded, you know, any injuries recorded. So that's that administrative part of it. And I know this sounds that people don't think about this, is that when you see them in uniform and gear,
Yes.
we have to buy that.
You know what? That never occurred to
That
me.
never occurred. So we have 14 work sites.
And by work sites, you mean?
12 working fire stations and 2
Okay.
standalone med stations.
Okay.
Including headquarters, fire administration. So essentially 15 work sites. So it's a major operations. A little over $40 million worth.
Is that a year?
That is a year. That is a budgetary year that runs from October 1st to October 1st. So we're essentially a business.
Yes, you are.
We really are. So those stations and those personnel have to be supported. Okay? And you see fire engines, you see med units, they run on gas and diesel, right?
Right.
Well, they don't give it away.
You know what? I thought, listen, and this is one of the reasons I love my podcast, Chief, and everyone, you know, who follows me and supports me, because everyone lives in their bubble.
Yes.
And so I don't know, like, so much stuff. And this podcast is really, like, the more people I talk to, the more I realize I just don't know.
Well, that's what we're here today, to educate you on what we actually do and how we do that to support and protect our citizens.
I thought, and this is the honest truth, I thought that like police officers, firefighters, EMTs, they got their gas for free.
No, the city has to buy gas, the city has to buy electricity and things like that. We're a customer also. Yeah. So the gas isn't given free, diesel isn't given free, and it, like I said, a little over $40 million operations. To put it in perspective, a med unit costs $400,000.
Really?
Yes,
Just one?
Just one. A fire engine, a little over $1 million.
I can believe that. It's so much going on those fire engines.
There is. And the same thing on the med units. And we run both med units and fire engines also.
So you are over 300 people plus $40 million.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that daunting? I feel anxious just saying it.
It's a daunting task. So we want to make sure that we're good stewards of the taxpayers' money. So we're constantly making those type of adjustments, budgetary adjustments and everything, and looking for the best product for the money.
Okay.
And our cost has increased And I know this gets old and everything, but our operational cost has increased due to the pandemic.
Really? How
Yeah.
so?
Well, because we had supply chain issues.
Right.
If you remember, I'll put it simply to you. You remember driving around when you were out and looking at the car lots? Did you see any cars on the car?
Empty.
Do you think that affected us too? On
No.
medical supplies and things like that?
I did not think that.
It did. It really, really did. And remember, the N95 mask, and the
Right.
latex gloves, we were competing with other departments and other entities for that.
Right.
Yes.
You know what? When it comes to firefighters, and I'm just speaking for myself, I never really think about you guys until I need you.
Yeah.
That's when I think about you.
Yes. Yes.
Is that how you want it?
No, we try to be active in the community. We try to be in the schools. We try to go to the neighborhood associations and letting people know what we do.
Right.
And that's part of that education. Like, this is the 31st year of 911 in this area. Okay.
Seems like it should be older than that.
We used, you'd have to call the area code and then the 7-digit number before
yes.
that.
Okay.
So 911 is the 31st year in this region, Southeast Texas region. And we went on an aggressive campaign telling people to call 911. And we did a great job of doing that. So now everybody knows to call 911, correct?
Yes.
Any
Yes, we do.
6-year-old you go to school, we teach them to call
Call
911.
Yes.
So now what we have to do is re-educate them that, hey, we want you to call 911, but we want you to call 911 when there's an actual emergency.
Right. Right. And I do know, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, you can absolutely correct me. Now you can text 911, correct?
No, you still have to call.
You still have to call?
You
Okay,
still
I
have to
thought you
call.
could text.
No, you still have to call.
Okay.
Now, sometimes when you're not able to go to call through, that they can actually call you back
Yes.
on the phone.
Right.
But we want to make sure that you call. Okay. So that's why sometimes when we have what we call a drop call or something like that, that dispatcher will call you back.
Right.
Yes, to see,
Right.
hey, do you have an emergency? Absolutely. And we do have other things set in place for like our impaired, our hearing impaired and everything. When they call, we have things that we can translate for them.
Okay.
We have a language line
For different
for
languages.
different languages. That is
Really?
correct. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm doing
Yeah.
this interview.
Yeah, we have a language line because we want to make sure that people, when they call 911, that they get the actual help that they need.
Absolutely. I'm so inclusive.
Yes,
they
ma'am.
throw that word around, but you guys really are inclusive.
We try. We really, really do. And if we incur a problem, we try to fix it.
Now, we were talking, I believe this was off camera, and I was asking you how long you have been Fire Chief of Beaumont, Texas, and you said you've been 6 years.
6 years as the fire chief, yes ma'am.
Do you have to be a firefighter first to become a fire chief?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because there's certifications and training involved and everything. Like I have my firefighter certification, but I also have what through the state we call a head of agency.
And
That's
what does that
totally
mean?
separate.
Okay.
That's actually like a fire chief certification.
Okay.
That's totally separate from the actual firefighter certification. Because they want to know that they're putting people in these positions that are actually capable.
Right, right. When did you, okay, so this is going to be a two-part question. First question, when did you know you wanted to be a firefighter? And why?
Accidentally on purpose.
Okay.
How can I say that?
Okay.
I'm born and raised here in Beaumont, Texas. And I actually went to college in Houston, Texas Southern University.
HBCU?
HBCU.
Yes.
On a music scholarship.
No.
Yeah. Actually
Were
went to
you
college.
in the band?
I was in the band,
Okay.
the Ocean of Soul at Texas
Oh,
Southern.
yes. Famous.
Famous Ocean of Soul.
Yes.
So I was over there, and my parents, my mother didn't work, my father was the sole provider, so it was tough for me in college. So I would drive back and forth the weekends that I was off, we didn't have games and stuff, to actually work here at one of the local shopping centers that my father was over maintenance.
Okay.
'Cause I had to have spending money.
Right.
So I came home, and a great friend of mine, grew up with him and everything. He called on a Sunday and said, "Hey, the fire department's taking applications. You want to go and sign up with me?" And I said, "No, man, I got class tomorrow." He said, "Man, cut class and we'll go sign up." And he really wanted the job because he was dating one of our high school classmates. They wanted to get married and everything. And I think she held off a little bit until he had an actual job.
I don't blame her.
Yeah, she held out.
Yeah.
So I wound up cutting class and going and signing up. That was when they advertised for firefighters and police officers in the Sunday paper to come and sign up and everything. And that was in 1980. Oh, I'm giving away my age.
You don't look it. Don't worry. You don't look it.
So I wound up signing up, taking the test. I got hired. He didn't. He landed on his feet, though.
Yes.
He did land on his feet. And I've had a wonderful career. I was originally here for almost 36 years.
As a firefighter?
As a firefighter, rose to the rank of captain. And then in 2016, I ran for elected office for Constable Precinct 1. And I was fortunate enough that the voters thought enough of me to elect me to that position. And so I retired from here and went over to Jefferson County as elected official in Constable Precinct 1. Loved every minute of it. Well, the fire chief job came open, and I thought about it, and I sat and I talked with my wife, is that something I want to do or whatever? And she said, if you decide to do this, make it a position of purpose.
What does she mean by that?
Go there and make it better. And make it a position of purpose.
Yes.
From your heart.
Yes.
And follow God's will.
Yes.
And she was right.
Absolutely she was.
She was absolutely right. And public service is a huge part of me. It really is. And I make sure that I let young men and young women understand that public service is definitely a calling. And you chose public service. Public service didn't choose you.
That's a great way to look at it.
So therefore, you owe 100%
to the public?
to the public. Because we see the public usually on their worst day. Have you ever thought about that?
It's true.
We usually see people
It is true.
on their worst day, and we're going to go there and try to make it better. And we work very, very hard to make sure that we leave it a whole lot better than we found it.
That is so true. I did not think about that because we are running out and y'all are running in.
No matter what the emergency is.
Yes.
No matter what the emergency is. And we want to make sure that we're taking care of their issues. Because a lot of people, that's the only time they have contact
It is.
with the department.
It is because it goes back to what I was saying earlier. The only time I think about the fire department is when I need the fire department. Like something is horrible is going on.
But remember, we're out there participating
Yes.
in the public also.
Yes.
We're going to the neighborhood association meeting. One thing that we've done since I've been the fire chief is that we've participated in the BISD World Program.
Okay.
Reading to second graders.
Yes.
And I look at it as a recruiting tool.
Is it?
It's a big recruiting tool. You take that second grader, as that firefighter, EMT, paramedic, they're reading to them, they're learning a skill, and they're looking at them going, I can do this.
Yes.
I can do this.
So to become a firefighter, do you have to go to college? What is the educational pathway?
The educational pathway is that there's several different pathways that you can take. You can take the firefighter/EMT paramedic pathway, or you can take the EMT paramedic pathway. So if you like serving the public in either capacity, as the firefighter EMT or as the EMT paramedic, we have 2 career paths for you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Is there a test you have to take?
We sit for a civil service test, and go through all the background, the criminal background, the polygraph, and everything, because we want to make sure that we're hiring the best.
Right.
Remember, we're going into people's homes
Mm-hmm.
during their worst time,
Right.
or during a traumatic event, i.e. car accident. Unfortunately, we have shootings, we have stabbings and things like that. So we want to make sure that we're hiring people, individuals, that reflect the core values of this community.
What does your record have to be spotless?
It doesn't have to be spotless, but because we've all made mistakes, especially when we're young.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't think that what I do now can affect my whole entire life.
It's true.
Okay.
It's true.
So we make some exceptions for misdemeanor conviction in certain things if there's been some time linked between it. We look at that and we go, you know what? This is an individual, they've redeemed themselves. They become a good citizen. They made a mistake, but it was a devastating mistake. And there are some times that are some things, and we have those in writing, so you know exactly what you have to be. Now, one of the big things that we're finding is that we're struggling with individuals that drug use.
Really?
It eliminates a large percentage of individuals.
Even if it was something that they done when they were much younger.
Current drug use.
Current drug
Current
use.
drug use, yes ma'am.
What?
Current drug use. We do forgive drug use in your past.
Yes.
You know, a little bit of marijuana in your past.
Yes.
Yeah, we make exceptions for that and everything. But let's say we process an individual. Okay, we go through the whole thing, and then we get to the physical part of it. And then we do the drug screen, and it comes back positive. Unfortunately, that eliminates quite a few of them. It
Yes.
really does. So I'm out there preaching to them in that in some aspects of society it's become accepted,
Yes.
but in public service it's
It is
not
not.
accepted.
And I'm assuming that these men and women know beforehand that they're going to have to take the physical and the drug test.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have a recruiting flyer that we give out. We have the internet that you go to the city website, you come to our website, you look at it. It tells the salaries, the benefits, the actual requirements, you know, even what criminal history is expected of you. And you can look at it and go, you know what? I'm good. So it's not a secret
Yes.
what the requirements are.
I guess I can't understand if I know I'm going to have to take a drug test.
Well, when you figure that out, you let me know. Okay?
I know I'm going to have to take a drug test.
Yes, that is correct.
And, okay. What is the website? Like, what is your website?
cityofbeaumont.org.
Okay.
And it'll take you to the city's site, and then you'll click on fire, and it'll bring you to our website and the city's website. And we're currently taking application, firefighter, EMT applications right now.
How old do you have to be?
18 years old.
It's not old at all.
That's not old at all, but you can't be past your 36th birthday.
Why?
Well, because it's a pretty physical job.
Okay.
It really, really is. Now, that's not to say that we don't have positions for people older than 36, because we do have those EMT and paramedic positions
Right.
that the 36 years is waived. But to be a firefighter EMT, it's 18 and not have achieved your 36th birthday by date of hire.
Now, earlier in the podcast, you stated that you or the fire department goes out for stabbings and shootings and things like that. Why does the fire department go out for that?
Because we provide medical care.
Doesn't the EMTs provide that?
Remember I said we have firefighters/EMTs,
That's right.
and that we run the med units.
Yes.
Yes. And a large percentage of our calls have nothing to do with fire at all.
So what is the majority of the calls?
They're running on medical calls, auto collisions, different falls, slips, things like that. Hazmat spills,
Yes.
dive incidents. because unfortunately we have large bodies of water, and during the summertime we do have people.
So the fire department goes out for that?
We have a dive team, yes ma'am.
A dive team.
And we also assist police department, sheriff department, FBI, and things in recovering evidence in the streams of water also. So we're all connected.
I'm blown away by this, Chief.
Yes, ma'am.
I am blown. I had
Yeah.
I thought y'all just did fires.
No, we don't just do fire. We're a full service
Yes.
department. That includes public education.
Mm-hmm.
Our community division does public education. We even go out. If you own your own home, we'll put a smoke detector in there for you.
Yes, for free. Don't y'all
For
do that?
free.
For free.
We'll
Yes.
come out, we'll install it, put a brand new battery, and that's that preventative part of it.
Correct.
That's our community risk reduction division that does that. Absolutely, we come, and while we're there, we're gonna test that smoke detector and make sure that it's safe. And we're gonna advise you that we want you to test that smoke detector twice a year. You know when?
Okay, let me see. I would assume January, like the first of the year, and maybe 6 months after that, like June.
You can,
Okay.
but we try to make it simple.
Okay.
What are we getting ready to do next month with our clocks?
Oh,
Since it's fall.
Fall back.
We're gonna fall back.
Yes.
And what are we gonna do in the spring?
Spring forward.
So why not, doing that, check your smoke detector?
Yeah.
In the fall, when we fall back, check your smoke detector. In the spring, when we spring forward, check your smoke detector.
That is much easier.
It's a little bit easier.
That's much
It's a
easier.
little bit easier. Don't wait for it to be, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
much
no, we don't want you
easier.
to wait for it to be.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you were in the firefighter and worked your way up to captain 36 years. And
Yes.
then elected official, and then you had the idea,
Of
or
the
the
opportunity.
desire, the opportunity,
The opportunity.
that's a better word, to become fire chief. Why did you want to pursue that opportunity?
I love this department. I love this city. I was born and raised in this city, and my goal from day one is to make sure that I'm giving the men and women of this department everything that they need within reason to provide that good service to who?
The public.
The public.
Okay.
Ultimately, who is our boss?
The mayor?
The customers, the citizens.
Are we?
Yes, you are. Whose money are we using?
Oh, that was going to be one of my questions. So you get your $40 million budget. Is it from taxpayers?
It's from the taxpayers, yes.
All $40 million.
Yes, ma'am.
Really?
Yeah, your two largest departments in the city of Beaumont
Okay.
is your two public safety departments.
So would that be
Police
police?
and fire.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. The two departments account for almost 60% of the city's budget. So this city is committed to public safety. If you're committing that much money to public safety, you're
Yes.
pretty committed to public safety.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, because we want to make sure that our citizens are safe and that they feel safe and secure in their homes. So when they need us, that we're there.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to go back a little bit. So you ditched school that Monday to fill out the application.
Yes.
You got the job. Did you ever go back to Texas Southern University?
I did not. I went to Lamar.
You went to Lamar.
But I am a Texas Southern alumni.
So you
After
finished.
having to, I consider myself a Texas Southern alumni after having attended. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So as I was preparing for this interview, one of the things that I found, and I'm sure you already know this, that it's only 5% African American fire chiefs in the United States of America.
Yes, ma'am.
When I say that number, what do you think? How does that make you feel?
That we have to do some work on our part to prepare ourselves for these jobs, for those challenges. Okay. And there are still challenges
Right.
that we face. But if we're prepared for those particular positions, then we're not going to be denied those positions
Okay. Yes.
because we meet the qualifications. Much like when I speak to individual groups when we're recruiting and everything, let's not eliminate ourselves from these jobs. How about we lay the foundation? That way we can't be denied. Okay? And I break it down real simple with our young men and women.
Mm-hmm.
I ask them, you ever see a house built? And they go, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We build it from the bottom up or the top down? We build it from the bottom up.
Yes.
So if you have that good foundation and you have the education and the qualifications, we've done our part. We have done our part. Then we can have people go out there and lobby for us.
Yes.
Because I see so many times that we go out and we say, hey, he or she didn't get this position and everything. Well, the reason they didn't get the position is because they didn't prepare themselves for it.
Okay.
Would you much rather lobby for me that I'm totally qualified for that position?
Absolutely. I'm
Or
gonna
to go
put my
out there
name
and
out.
put your name out there for someone that's not qualified for the position? And remember, these are positions of public trust.
Mm-hmm.
Of public trust. And remember that 5% of the minority fire chiefs in the United States, we're still serving who? All of the public.
Still serving the public.
Still serving all of the
Still
public.
serving the public.
You're still
Yes.
serving the public.
Yes.
You're still serving. So I'm the fire chief for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But it's my job to make sure that I'm qualified for these positions. So we're not going to be denied these positions if we prepare. If we do our part, yeah, there's going to be challenges and stuff, but we're going to be able to say, you know what? I earned that position.
Right. It was not given.
It was not given to me.
It was not given.
That is exactly right.
Yes.
It was not given to me.
And in the same vein, my next question, there's only 8% African American firefighters in the U.S. What do you think can be done to recruit more African Americans into this career?
That these are careers. You said it. That these are careers and the benefits of that. This career has allowed me to raise my family, to have a good life. So we have to make sure, I have to make sure that I'm out there talking to these individuals saying, what did I say? We have to prepare ourselves. Okay? Remember you said you can look at the flyers, look on the website, know what the qualifications are.
Yes.
Let's not eliminate ourselves from these jobs by not preparing ourselves. And letting our youth know that we're going to be competing against everybody. And you want to be the last person standing.
You do.
You want to be the last person standing. Now, if you eliminate me because of the way I look, that's on you. But if I came prepared, that's on me. I'm not going to give you a reason to eliminate me from these jobs. I'm not. And we want people that look like us. I'm in that position. I'm in that position. And of course, I've gotten those calls, you know, unfortunately from relatives, from individuals saying, well, my son or daughter didn't get hired. Well, I simply tell them, your son or daughter didn't meet the qualifications.
And you say that to relatives as
Absolutely.
well? Really?
Your son or daughter didn't meet the qualification, but you need to talk to them about that. And I tell them, when they don't meet the qualifications, go and tell your relatives that it wasn't Chief White that eliminated me. I eliminated myself.
Which I doubt. I'm not saying that they're not going to, but the percentages.
Very few people tell an unfavorable story about themselves.
It's true.
Yeah, I tell stories all the time. I'm the hero.
Hey, I'm the best podcast host there is. What are you talking about, Chief?
Yeah, but I want to make sure that I am out there recruiting people. Remember I said that reflect the core value
Yes.
of this department. And I want to recruit people that look like me. I want to recruit females. I want to recruit all minorities that reflect this community.
Yes.
But they have to meet the qualifications because these are highly critical careers. And they have to meet the qualifications. Remember, we're going out there providing care to the community.
Yeah.
You look at, if you're deciding on medical procedure, who do you want?
The best. The absolute best.
So why shouldn't we require that same thing?
It's true.
Why shouldn't we require that same thing? And we're paying above livable wages. You know, our starting salary is close to $65,000 a year.
Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
What?
Yeah, close to $65,000 a year. That is correct.
Wow.
You know, these are livable wages in Southeast Texas.
Very much.
They're very livable wages in Southeast Texas. So it's very, very simple. Here are the requirements.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the benefits and salaries. See how it works out?
Mm-hmm.
If you meet these requirements, this is what we're going to pay you, and these are the benefits, and it leads to a good life. It really, really does. Do we have a ways to go to make sure that we're hiring individuals that look like you and me? Absolutely, and I'm committed to that. In fact, one of the things that I'm working with is with BISD, Dr. Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at piggybacking onto their Grow Your Own program.
What program is that? That's with Beaumont Independent School
That's what Beaumont
District.
Independent School District.
Okay.
They have what you call a Grow Your Own.
Okay.
So we're looking at partnering with them in this next coming school year to offer EMT certification and firefighter certification starting in the 11th grade.
Wow, that is a great
It's
idea.
a great idea. There's other school districts and cities that are doing that.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to take that and tweak it for both BISD and the Beaumont Fire and City of Beaumont.
That's a great idea.
They're going to be able to decide a career path in the 11th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can get into the EMT certification and the firefighter certification, they graduate, they're 18 years old, they meet our qualifications,
They have a career.
they have a career. Is that a good idea?
That's a great idea.
Not bad. And so, are we growing our own?
Y'all growing your own.
Is that going to give a student in BISD City of Beaumont an opportunity at these careers?
Yes, that
It is.
absolutely is.
It will.
And really, it starts, just like you said earlier, it starts in the 2nd grade with the reading program.
Yes, absolutely.
That's where it starts.
They're going to be looking and say, you know, I could do that.
And then by the time they get to the 11th grade, they'll remember.
They'll remember, and they're going to have that opportunity. Most of the time, it's about what? Opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Opportunity. You know, I went to a conference 2 weeks ago in Dallas, Texas, and one of the speakers said, it's about opportunity and luck.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
about the opportunity and the luck.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear people, well, I'm self-made. Nobody's self-made.
No one is self-made.
But you have to, remember what I said, we have to make sure that we're prepared for those opportunities.
Yes.
And when that luck comes along, we reach out and grab it.
And you know what I've heard, and I feel like it's so true, especially speaking with you, Chief White, it's prepared meets opportunity equals luck.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you aspire to be a podcaster?
I did not.
Was it luck? An opportunity?
It was prepared.
Prepared?
Yes.
Opportunity and
here
luck.
we go.
And here we go.
And look who I'm talking to.
Yes,
Look who I'm
absolutely.
talking to. Okay, so what are some challenges as fire chief? What are some challenges that you have faced, and what are some opportunities that you have encountered as fire chief?
Well, as fire chief, of course, I'm responsible for overall operations of the department. And I tell everybody, if you have employees, you will have employee challenges.
Yes.
One of the jobs that required of me is that I have to correct employees' behavior that is unacceptable. I don't like that part of the job.
I would assume that's not easy.
It is not easy. It is not easy. But as the fire chief and the boss, it is my job to make sure that they receive fair and equitable treatment. And I have 4 core values that I've lived by in both my personal and professional life. And this is what I expect of not only myself, but of members of the Beaumont Fire Rescue. And they're real simple.
What are they?
Come to work on time.
Okay. That's easy.
Pretty easy, isn't it?
Yes. I was expecting something more.
No.
Okay.
No, I think, I try to look at life real simple.
Mm-hmm.
We as human beings make life a whole lot more complicated than it has to be. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's number 1, come
Okay.
to work on time. Okay. Number 2, once you're here, do the job that you're being paid to do.
Again, simple.
Pretty simple.
Yes.
Really simple. Okay, that's 2.
Yes.
Number 3, obey the rules.
Yeah. It's really simple.
Really simple. And no organization that has any amount of success doesn't have rules.
Right. Absolutely.
In our life, do we have life rules?
Yes.
Do we have society rules?
Yes.
And if we don't live by those rules, do we become productive members of society?
Absolutely not.
We do not. So that's number 3, obey the rules. And number 4, be truthful.
Very simple.
Pretty simple.
Very simple.
Pretty simple.
Yes.
And I'm not asking them to solve quantum physics.
I'm saying.
4 very simple rules, okay, that I expect of myself and I expect of members of this department. Because remember, we're public servants. So therefore, we owe it to the community to make sure that we're hiring the best people that we can.
Yes.
And those are 4 simple rules that we're going to live by anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That we're going to live by anyway.
Yes.
Now, one of the things you said, the be on time,
Mm-hmm.
you probably know people that struggle with time management.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
We struggle sometimes with time
The
management.
snooze, the snooze, the snooze.
The snooze,
Yes.
the snooze.
Yes.
So those are the 4 things that I expect, again, of not only myself, but of members of the Beaumont Fire Rescue.
Okay.
Not very hard on it.
I don't think so.
You don't think?
Somebody
No.
else might, but I don't think so. And
No.
really, if we're being honest, Chief, I feel like those 4 things should be things that you learn at home.
Absolutely.
Like growing up.
Absolutely.
Be on time, tell the truth, do the work.
You're exactly right in that it does start at home.
Mm-hmm.
It starts at home. And that way we're building them up.
Yes.
So when they go out into society, it's not a shock.
It's not a shock.
I have one son. And I raised him with the deal just like my parents raised him. And I'm going to go old school here.
Okay.
Okay, you're going to obey somebody.
That is old school.
Is that pretty old school?
That is old school.
Is it the truth though?
It is the truth, though. It really is.
You are going to obey
Yes.
somebody.
Yes. Yes.
Pretty old school.
Yes. But it works.
It does work.
It works.
It does work. Is that what you expect out of?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Is that what you expect out of me?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
See, so you see how I try to break down everything, try not to make it complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Really don't. And we're good. We have to obey the rules,
Yeah.
no matter who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? I have a boss.
Do you?
I do.
Oh, wait. Is this the trick question again, that the public is your boss?
They
we
are.
talking about?
Inadvertently they are.
Yes.
But directly I report to the city manager.
Okay. Okay. See, I was thinking that the fire chief reports to the mayor, because the mayor is like the
Well,
boss
remember,
of the city.
we're under the city manager form of government.
Okay.
Okay? That means that the city manager is the chief executive officer. So he's responsible for the day-to-day operations of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And the council is responsible for budget, things like that, that's presented by the city manager. The city manager reports directly to the council.
Okay.
Now, 90 miles down the road
Mm-hmm.
to the city of Houston, they're under a different form. They're under the mayoral form of government, where
Okay.
the mayor is the chief executive officer.
See, that's what I was thinking. And so the fire chief in Houston, Texas reports to the mayor.
That is correct. Yeah, in fact, they just had a fire chief and police chief change in Houston because they got a new what? Mayor.
They did get a new mayor,
Mhm.
Mayor Sylvester.
Sylvester's no longer
He's
there.
no longer there.
He's no longer there.
Yes.
Yeah. So see the different forms of government?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important that our citizens understand what form of government that we're under.
Correct.
The citizens elect city council,
Correct.
and city council appoints the city manager.
Correct. Correct.
So he works directly for the city
City
council.
council.
And I work directly for the city manager.
Now, the fire chief is not an elected position,
It is
correct?
not, it is an appointed position.
Yes.
The fire chief and the police chief are appointed positions.
Right.
That is
And
correct.
we just have a new police chief
yeah,
here in
chief
Beaumont,
officer.
Texas.
That is correct.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Who was appointed, recommended to the council for
Mhm.
approval by the city manager.
By the city manager.
That is correct.
You are correct.
Yes.
We have a government
Government class, well,
Government-
local government class.
Local government
Local
class,
government
which
class.
really should be the most
It is
important.
very, very important.
It's the most important.
Because unfortunately, citizens, individuals get frustrated
Mhm.
with local government especially, because remember, local government has the most influence on
It
your life.
does. On your
On
everyday
your
life.
everyday life.
Yes.
And we're getting ready to have a presidential election.
Yes.
Which is very, very important.
Mhm.
But who has the most effect on your everyday life?
It's your local
Your
government.
local government, i.e. your councilman, your mayor,
Yes.
your commissioners,
Mhm.
your constables, your sheriffs,
Yes.
and things.
Your
Because
judges.
your judges.
Yes.
Yeah. Because human beings are what? We have to see it, feel it, touch it.
Mhm.
And you can reach out to your council person or councilwoman
Mhm.
and say, hey, I need this pothole filled. You call your council person, you call your congressman for that.
Right.
See the difference?
Yeah.
You call your council person, or you
You
call
do.
the mayor. And in
Yes.
this case, the city has tried to make it easy for you. So when you need those city services like that,
Mhm.
you can simply dial 311.
311.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You can dial
Yes.
311.
They've done a great job of advertising that, I feel
Yes.
like. I feel like
They
because
really,
it's
really have.
everywhere. It's
Mhm.
everywhere. Call
Yeah.
311. It's everywhere.
It's been a good addition
Mhm.
for our citizens to
Yes.
get things done.
Yes.
That may not be that emergency, but they get it reported
Mm-hmm.
and get that city service. Hey, I got a water leak. Now, the question is it on the city side or is it on the individual side?
Right.
But we're gonna come out and we're gonna determine that.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Because it's a great city service, and you see, I'm the fire department, but I'm able to give you that information and refer you where you can get the necessary help that you need. May not come from 911, but we're gonna get your service from 311.
Right. Right.
Is it still an essential city service?
Yes.
It's just not an emergency service.
Yes. So what opportunities would you say you have garnered being the fire chief of Beaumont, Texas?
I've tried to earn the respect of my colleagues, of the personnel here, and of this community. And make sure that I'm accessible. I don't think there's anyone in Beaumont that doesn't have a cell phone number.
Really? I know I do.
Yeah.
I definitely
Absolutely. Absolutely.
do. Yes.
It's important that our citizens can reach out to the public servants and say, hey, it may not even be a fire-related question or anything. It may be, I may be able to refer them to the right place. So I want to be accessible to the public. It's very, very important. You know, I go to the grocery store sometimes, and I'm only going to pick up a couple of items. How long do you think it takes me to get out of the grocery store?
I want to say a few minutes, but the way you're asking that question, I know it's much longer.
It's much longer. It
So
is.
do people recognize you as the fire chief?
Yeah, they do. Remember, I was born and raised here.
Correct.
Born and raised here.
Correct.
So they not only know me as the fire chief, but they know me as who? Earl. As Earl.
Yes.
Because whether I'm the fire chief or not, I'm still going to be who?
Earl.
I'm still going to be Earl.
From Beaumont, Texas.
From Beaumont, Texas. That's exactly right.
Yes.
I'm still going to be Earl from Beaumont, Texas, and I'm still going to be that person that if you need something, call me or approach me
Yes.
and let me know.
Is that part of garnering the community trust?
Trust in this community is very, very, very important. Remember I said sometimes people get frustrated with government
Yes.
because sometimes they just don't understand how it works. They really, really don't. So it is not only my job as the fire chief to take care of fire-related emergency operations and everything, but to educate our public where they can get the service that they need.
Yeah.
We have a group of department heads that we have great working relationships with. I have a great working relationship with the head of the water department, with the Convention and Tourism Bureau, with event facilities, because we put on a lot of city events, don't we?
You do. And I was thinking why, generally I understand it, but I'm thinking why would you need to have a great relationship with like tourism and things like that as the fire department?
Because all these events, you see firefighters, paramedics out there, you see the command
Correct.
truck, we're all
Correct.
working together to make sure that these are safe events.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
we may have an event that we plan out 6 months, that we're having constant meetings on to make sure that it goes off without a hitch. One of our big events, July 4th,
Yes.
Juneteenth.
Yes.
It takes a lot of planning, working with all departments and making sure that it goes.
Yes.
The fire department doesn't have barricades.
Who has the barricades? Is it the police?
The police don't have barricades. The other divisions have barricades. Traffic has barricades. So we're going to need barricades.
Yes.
Okay? Events facilities. When we have an event here at headquarters, we may need tables and we may need chairs. So we're able to get them from event facilities and
Yes.
things like that. Police department and fire department are in charge of public safety. So we're going to make sure that we have a med unit standing by. We're going to have a fire truck there. We're going to have every aspect that could go wrong. Next month, we're going to be putting on our Fire Fest, our annual Fire Fest here. We've already planned it out and everything.
And that's in October?
That's in October.
You guys do that every October?
We do that every October, first
It's
Saturday in
amazing.
October. It's going
Yes.
to be October 5th this year from 11 to 3. We pushed it back a little bit because they're having a 5K run
Okay.
here. So after the 5K, we want everybody to come, and it's a free event
It is free.
here at the Fire Museum. So we're going to block off the roads. We're going to have hot dogs. We're going to have popcorn. We're going to have
Face
entertainment.
painting.
We're going to have face painting. We're going to have public education.
Yes.
We're going to have the bounce house. We're going to show you what we do. We're going to cut up a car with our jaws of life.
Really?
Absolutely. Part of what? Educating the public in what we do.
Yes.
We want to
Yes.
educate the public in what we do. Absolutely.
Now, one of the things that you said earlier in the podcast, Chief, was that the fire department shows up in a person's life during the worst time of their life, normally, during the worst time.
Yeah.
What is that emotional toll for you, for your firefighters?
It takes an emotional toll. It really, really does. Years ago when I started, we worried about the physical part. What we forgot about was the mental toll that it takes on an individual.
Yes.
So we have a peer support group set up, made up of firefighters that have been specially trained to deal with events that happen. The city's committed to an EAP program, Employee Assistance Program, specifically targeted to first responders.
Okay.
Not that other professions don't experience trauma in their profession, but our specific trauma is a little bit different. So we want to make sure that we're providing both the physical and mental care for our personnel. Because it can be tough.
Yes.
You know, when I interview individuals for prospective employment, I make sure that, are you understanding what we do here? And have you prepared your family for this? Because it does take that mental toll. You know, they're responding to traumatic events. Well, the spouse or significant other may not understand that when they get home, they don't want to talk. And they're not being rude, but they're still trying to process that scene. And so we put some things in place to help with that, in that we want you to say, hey, I need some help. Now, I will tell you, early on in my career, you didn't do that. You did not do that. No.
Yeah.
You dealt with it on your own, and every now and then you talk about it, but there wasn't things in place to deal with that trauma. But we've tried to make sure that we're providing those services for our individuals, because we want to make sure that we keep these employees. Okay? They're an investment.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes, they are.
So why wouldn't you invest in your employees?
Yes.
Both their physical and their mental needs.
What happened, and you might not be able to even answer this question, Chief, what happened that changed that thought to include the emotional, the mental health in this career of being a firefighter?
The toll.
Okay.
The toll that we saw that it took on individuals that sometimes reverted to alcoholism and other crutches to deal with it.
Yes.
Unfortunately, public safety suffers from a high degree of divorce rates and things like that. So we want to make sure that we're providing that so they don't go down that path. Okay? And I've been totally committed to that, in that since I've been the chief, we've had some individuals that needed some help, and we made sure that we got them the help that they needed.
Do they actually ask? And I guess I'm thinking about men. I feel like men are not going around saying, you know, I'm sad, my heart is broken, this scene, you know,
I'm proud
suffering.
to say that we've had individuals that have come forward and say, hey, I need some help. I need some help. And you can't see and participate in these traumatic events and not be affected. Remember, you're a human being. And gone are the days of shake it off. You know, men play football, have a broken leg, and they'll go back to the bench and say, I'm good.
It's true.
You got a broke leg.
You have a broke leg.
You have a broke leg.
Yes.
Well, what's the difference between a broke leg and a broke mental?
Wow.
Are you trying to heal? Just a different aspect of healing. Yeah.
You know, this all started from that Temptation song. You know, a man ain't supposed to cry.
Man,
That's where it started, Chief.
well, I have to disagree with
not
that.
their fault.
Men, as men, we do have to show emotion.
Yes.
We really do.
Yes.
I've never missed the opportunity to tell my son that I love him. You know, my father loved me. I have no doubt that he loved me, but he had a hard time telling me. And I wanted to change that narrative.
Right. And that was the generation at that time.
It's a generation. And how do we get better as a generation? It is my job to do better than the last generation. It is my son's job. It is my niece's nephew's job to make sure generationally that we're better.
That brings a great question to mind, Chief. How, with this generation, have you made being fire chief and firefighters better than the generation before you?
Well, I recognize that we have 4 or 5 generations working.
At the same time?
In the fire service. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm a baby boomer. with Generation X,
Yes.
Millennials,
Yes.
Gen 2000.
That's true.
They're all working together.
Okay.
Okay. I came to work here at 19 years old. I was working with 30, 40, 50-year-old individuals. Was there generational?
Yes.
Absolutely. We still have that, do we not?
Yes.
So remember, baby boomers, millennials, Generation Z, 2000, they're all working together. So I try to get my individuals, the supervisors and everything, to understand that they coming from a different generation.
Yes. And a different thinking.
Yeah, I grew up in a generation that no meant no, and that was the end of it. Okay. So now we have raised up a generation that they, 4 or 5 years old, able to ask what?
Why? Why?
So we have to change our thinking a little bit. We hire young men and young women that ask why. Well, we're a paramilitary organization. So that why in an emergency situation is a no.
Okay.
But in a, what I call a sterile environment, like at the station or doing a training exercise or something like that, by all means, explain to them why we're doing this so they can better understand. And I had to get some of my frontline supervisors to understand that 20, 25-year-old boy or girl asking why don't mean any disrespect.
Right.
Because they've been able to ask why
Their whole life.
their whole life. Their whole life. You know, me, growing up with my parents, why meant you're probably going to get a beating. Because I said so.
Because I
said so.
Yes.
That's exactly right. And I won't talk about this anymore.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes. Yes. It is so the truth.
So you see the different generational changes? So we have to adapt. Our workforce has to adapt.
Yes.
Okay? I don't believe, because I heard the same thing growing up, God, what are we going to do with these new generation and everything? We'll survive.
We will, and we will adapt.
We will adapt.
We will
Adapt, modify, overcome.
Yes.
Okay. Because remember, they're the leaders of what? The future.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
need to invest in them. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're wrong because they think different than us. How did we get to the positions that we're at if we didn't think different? Or we weren't able to what? Adapt.
Adapt. Yes.
To be able to adapt. When I started here many, many years ago, wasn't a whole lot of computers.
Right.
Wasn't a whole lot of computers.
Or cell phones.
Or cell phones or things like that. And then we progressed. And remember the pagers?
I remember the pagers. I always got a page when I was nowhere near a phone.
Nowhere near a phone. So your page goes off and you're searching for this phone.
Yeah.
And then we got cell phones. Remember the bag phone.
Yes.
If you can remember back then.
I remember the bag phones.
Yeah.
And then the huge phone.
The huge phone, yeah, that probably gave you a tumor. Because you're getting signals from Mars and everything. And now, look at where we're at.
Look at where we're at.
Essentially, a mini computer.
Yeah. Because you can do just about everything on those cell phones.
So when you see that 70, 80-year-old guy or woman with an iPhone, they're working it, aren't they?
They are.
Did they adapt?
They adapted.
They adapted. Absolutely.
Very good.
They adapted.
What characteristics would you say are needed to be a successful fire chief and a successful firefighter?
That sense of public service and of good character and good morals. Society, most of the time, naturally gives public service that respect.
True.
Okay.
True.
but it's our job to maintain that respect. And I tell young men and young women, don't ever do anything to disrespect the job. That's both on and off duty. Because society associates you with what you do for a living.
It's true.
Individuals may not know my name, but when we talked about the grocery store, they'll be able to point, that's the fire chief. So who am I representing?
Oh, my firefighter.
For my firefighters, the city,
Yes.
all the time, 24 hours a day. People associate you with what you do for a living. Good or bad.
Correct.
Good or bad. That's why it's so important, Ms. Petry, that we're doing the best that we can to employ individuals that go out there and bring respect to this community. So yes, it's very, very important, the respect part. But remember, respect is earned.
Respect is earned.
Respect is earned.
Yes.
And I never forget that it is my job to earn your respect.
Is that something that needs to be done daily?
Daily. Yeah. That builds your character. That builds your character. And one trait that I want our young people to understand is you need to have the ability to be humble.
And what does that mean to you, being humble?
Humility, having the ability to say, you know what, I was mistaken. I was mistaken. Now what can we do to fix it? That's one of the examples that I give. We have to be humble. We really, really do. And individuals, when they see that you're humble, most of the time, you know what? They want to do something nice for you.
It's true.
They want to do something nice for you.
Yes.
If you're boisterous all the time and you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, who wants to be around them?
And people get tired of hearing that.
People get tired of hearing that. But if you're humble and you go about your daily life and set that example, they're going to say, that's who I want to be around. Remember, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes, and this is what I've learned, sometimes when you make the mistake, sometimes you don't have the opportunity to go back and make it right.
Sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
But as human beings, a lot of times we're very, very forgiving.
Yes.
If an individual can what? Be humble.
Be humble.
Be humble. Be very, very humble.
Yes.
It's very, very important. Humility goes a long ways.
As a leader, Chief White, what does leadership mean to you?
Set the example. When we aspire to these positions, it means that the scrutiny comes with it, as well it should. As well it should. And we want to make sure that people that we're placing in these are positions of public trust. You need to know every night when you lay your head down that if you need us, we're going to be there. And we're going to provide the best service that we possibly can. Which is why we try really, really hard to make sure that we're getting our individuals great training and great equipment. And that we're hiring people that are going to go out here and do the job on your worst day.
Oh my God. You have said a lot of great things during this podcast, and thank you so much for sitting down with me. But that is really going to stick out to me, that we see you during our worst possible moments and days in life. That's when you guys come in.
Unfortunately, yes. But we also do a lot of great things here.
Yes.
As far as educating the public. Remember we talked about the ROAR program and everything. And making sure that we're prepared for those instances. Like right now, we're in the midst of hurricane season.
Yes.
We've got all our hurricane assignments done. We had them done by May. We make sure that our equipment's ready to go in the event that we have not just a hurricane, but any disaster.
Mm-hmm. How does the fire department help during a hurricane?
We help with evacuations.
Evacuations,
Yeah,
yes.
with evacuations. We make sure that we're going out checking on individuals that call 211 to register that they need help during disasters and everything. So we're essentially coordinating with other city departments to make sure that we're providing those services to the city and citizens during an emergency, especially the disaster. And we've experienced some in the years past.
We have.
And
Hopefully none this year.
We've risen to the occasion. That we have. We've risen to the occasion.
Absolutely.
So a lot of preparation goes into that. A lot of training goes into that.
I just never would have thought. Never would have thought.
Well, I'm so happy that I'm able to give you an insight and an education
Yes.
in that fire is not all that we do.
I feel like it's the least.
Full service department.
Yes.
Full service
Full
department.
service
Yes, ma'am.
department.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Fire Chief, just a few more questions, then I'm going to let you go here. So you are over 300 people, men and women, firefighters, EMT, admin. Do you hire and sit down and interview all of these people?
Mhm.
Really?
Yes.
That is a lot.
Yeah. Some of them are one-on-one interviews,
Mhm.
and some of them are panel interviews.
Okay, so which ones are the one-on-one, which ones are the
The
panel?
one-on-one are usually the firefighter, EMT positions,
Okay.
and the EMT paramedic positions. Okay. Admins, support staff
Yes.
is usually done on a panel type deal. Now, one thing that we do is that we have an oral interview board for our firefighter applicants.
Okay.
That usually entails 4 or 5 individuals in the department, and to give them different scenarios on how they handle them. And we do the same thing with our EMTs and paramedics, give them different situations, and then they get to come see me.
Okay.
They get to come see me.
Yeah, so the buck does stop with you.
Essentially, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And then I make that conditional job offer for them.
How do you stay so motivated and so passionate?
Oh, I absolutely love it. I really,
Yes.
really do. Again, I enjoy public service. I really, everyone should find something in their life, career-wise, professional-wise, that they're passionate about. I happen to find it.
You absolutely did.
Can you see the excitement?
I can. That's why I'm like, you're so motivated. You're so passionate. Like from the moment we sat down to the end of this interview, like your passion has not wavered.
Good.
It has not wavered.
That's who I am. That is who I am. And I want everyone to know I'm not only the fire chief, but I'm your fire chief.
You need to put that on a billboard.
I need to put that on.
You need to put
I
that-
am your fire
Yes.
chief. I make sure when I'm out in the community that if you don't have my number, I give you my number, and I tell them that. I said, I'm not only the fire chief, but I'm your fire chief. Sense of ownership.
I was just thinking that.
Yes, ma'am.
I was just thinking that.
That sense of ownership.
Okay, Chief White, I promise I could really just sit down and talk to you forever. I really could, but unfortunately I have to end this interview. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, so my last question for this interview, who do you think would make a great guest for the podcast, but you have to help me get them on?
I think Jamie Smith.
Okay.
I think he'd be excellent. Not only because we're friends, but because he reflects, remember we talked about, he reflects that core value
Yes.
of our community. And he's an elected official
Yes.
that people trust. Trust so much that they re-elected him several times.
Several times.
Several times.
Yes.
That's
yes.
exactly right. That's not by accident.
It is not.
No, it is
Because
not.
people have to get up and get out and get dressed to go.
Absolutely, they
Yes,
do.
they
And
do.
we want to make sure that as public officials, that we're supporting each other.
Absolutely. Well,
very
thank
important.
you so much, Chief White, for sitting down with me for my podcast. I
It has
appreciate
been
it.
my absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thank
It
you
has
so much.
I didn't know what to expect.
Yes.
I will tell you, my first podcast.
Is it?
It is.
Oh my God! Yay!
Yes.
I did not know that.
My first several interviews, but never a podcast.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you for telling me that.
Yes. It's been my pleasure.
Yes. And thank you so much for tuning in and watching. You can get this podcast and all of my other podcasts on YouTube Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. And remember, you always have time to listen and learn on the go.
Come on, let's go on a journey. Sit back, buckle up, enjoy the ride with Crystal Petry.